Alright folks, seeing with motorcycling again. Looks like another nice day, so I'm gonna go out for a ride and do a vlog. We're gonna head to the ATM, so we're going to do a vlog while I'm going there. So here we go. My vlog today will be about my motorcycle that I currently own, and it is a Harley Davidson Sportster. If you've already seen my first vlog, in my intro I talked a little bit about the bike, and I said I would do a video on why I bought a Harley, or why I own a Harley. And here's why. First of all, Harley Davidson was the last brand of motorcycle I thought I would ever ride, let alone own one. Okay, so let's get that off the bat. When I first got the news that I passed my motorcycle class and that I was going to get my license, the first bike I wanted to own was a Ducati Monster. Yes, a Ducati Monster 696. And you can hit replay if you want to hear it again. Let me tell you, the Ducati Monster is one of the sexiest bikes I've ever seen. And that was the first bike, and you know, for the same price that I paid for this bike, I could have gotten a Ducati Monster. And here's the reason why I ended up with this instead of the Ducati. It's because I have a spouse. And for those of you who have a spouse, or don't have a spouse yet, specifically those who don't have one yet, I suggest you get a motorcycle if you're contemplating on getting one before you get a spouse. Nothing against having a spouse, but that's just the way life is. So, my spouse said that she would not want me to buy a Ducati because she doesn't want to be on the back of a sport bike. She said that she's been on one and she hated it. So, you know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like, you know, like, am I supposed to say, well, tough luck, get in the back of the seat, I don't care? No. So, I obviously couldn't do that because I love my partner very much. So, she said that I had to buy a bike that has the capability of having a back seat, and it would sit comfortably. She comes from, she grew up on a Honda Valkyrie. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a touring bike. It's a mid-sized touring bike, and it's a very comfortable bike. That's the first bike I ever sat on in the passenger seat here in the States. Anyways, so that really gives me a huge limit on what bikes I can buy. I'm 5'2". Buying a touring bike was out of the question, so I was limited to cruisers. Now, you're saying, well, there's lots of cruisers. There's lots of different brands of cruisers. Yes, there is. As a matter of fact, the first dealership I went to is the one down the street here, and we're going to go right by it. And they sell a lot of nice cruisers. 650s, 750s. You know, since I was down to the cruiser, I wanted a Honda Shadow 750. That would have been my bike, but one that was way more affordable would have been a Yamaha V-Star 650, and that would have been an awesome first bike. Here's the problem. I must have gone to this dealership like 5 times. I must have sat on 15 different motorcycles, different cruisers, and I don't know, I mean, I can't explain it to you. Sitting on them felt really great because they're low to the ground, and they're like, you know, all sparkly and say, hey, buy me, and I could not connect with them whatsoever. So being the open-minded person that I am, I said, you know what, maybe I should give other companies a chance, specifically Harley. All right, and I'm telling you, I did not want to even like sit on a Harley, and including victory bikes. You know, I like to look at victory bikes as well. So I said, you know what, I'll look at American cruisers as well, not just the Japanese ones. So I did. I didn't even go to the dealership. I just looked online at the pictures, at the Harleys and the victories. And I have to say, the moment I saw this bike, the pictures of this bike online, I was like, well, that's the bike I'm interested in. And I don't know how to explain this to you. Okay, so the best analogy I can make is this. It's like Harley Davidson is sort of like your in-laws, okay? You either love them or you hate them, or you're just kind of like whatever and you don't really care. I have a great relationship with my in-laws. I'm not in that category, let's say, where my in-laws and I don't get along, or at least from my point of view, they might not like me, but I don't know that. But I love my in-laws. I consider them very good people. Not everybody can say the same. It's the same thing with Harley Davidson. So when you go to a coffee shop, or when you want to find your spouse, you want to find that one person, you don't look for their parents and say, oh yeah, they have a good reputation of making awesome children and sexy hot, alpha males or alpha females. So I'm going to go look for their children and get together with them. Well, that's not how it works in life. You know, you go to a coffee shop looking for your significant other, looking for, or not a coffee shop, wherever you like to hang out, but you find your spouse based on their personality or from the get-go how they look, and you say, yeah, I can see myself with this person, I can see myself dating them. That's how you find it, and then you meet the parents later. That's how it is with this bike with me. I didn't look at the bike because it's a Harley Davidson. I looked at the bike because it was something that I could see myself riding, sitting on. I see myself falling in love with it. So if you take the sticker, the little print of Harley Davidson on this bike off, and you were to do the same thing with all the other brands of motorcycles, and you put them all lined up, all 15 of them, I guarantee you I will still pick this bike over the other ones. Putting brand aside, because that's how it was for me. It's like meeting my spouse without meeting the parents first. So I met this motorcycle without meeting Harley Davidson, okay? I couldn't even explain to you. It's like a lightning bolt that struck, and it says you and this bike were meant to be together, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're not going to stop thinking about it. And that was what happened. I could not stop thinking about this bike the moment I saw the picture of it. And I said, well, this is just absurd. I went from a Ducati Monster to a Harley Davidson Sportster. Like, they're not even the same, like, world, let alone same class. So I showed my spouse the bike, and she's like, that's a great looking bike, but you're missing something. And I said, what? She's like, you're missing the back seat. And I said, well, you can customize and put back seat on it. And she's like, okay, well, show me. So of course Harley's got this thing on the website where they can customize and put accessories on it. So I I showed her what it looks like with a back seat and all that good stuff. And she's like, okay. And then the moment she saw the back seat and the backrest, and she's like, oh my god, that is a really good looking bike. And she said, that is something you and I can go ride around town in. And so that's what happened. So we decided to go and take a look at the bike. All right. I gotta go to the ATM. So I'm gonna stop the video here, and I will talk to you guys again later. I'll finish the story in a bit. All right. I'm back. Alright, what were we talking about? Okay, so yeah, so I was talking about comparing my bike to meeting like a spouse or something. All right, so here's the deal. So like I said earlier, you don't pick your spouse based on their parents, okay? You don't pick your spouse based on the reputation of their parents and how beautiful children, what kind of beautiful children they make, and what kind of quality children they make, okay? The same thing when I picked this bike. I didn't pick this bike based on the company's reputation. I mean, the company I don't like their reputation that they have. Right in front of me is a Harley Davidson F-150. However, the irony. But that's what happened. Like I just took out the branding, and I just decided to just choose the bike based on its looks, its character, its the soul that the bike and the feeling that it gives me. Okay, so like I was saying, you take this Harley Davidson, all this little paint job off, and if you were to put it next to all the other bikes, the only connection I can make is with this bike. So am I going to peel this off? I could totally peel this Harley Davidson logo off and put on my own crap on it, okay? But here's why I won't, and I'll explain to you. It's just like my spouse. Her parents made her. Her parents made a human being that made me happy. Her parents made a human being that loves me unconditionally. Without a doubt, she loves me. Without a doubt, she lets me do things and explore things that I could never do on my own. This bike is that same feeling and that same concept. Harley Davidson produced a machine with a gas tank, 2 wheels, and a V-twin in between my legs that no other bike can give me. Okay, and it's not just a machine. It's not just a machine, but it's not just, you know, yeah, the other brands have the same machine as well. They make also V-twins, and they're like way more reliable than this, but they don't make a V-twin that has a sound like this bike. And my soul wants this sound. My soul responds to this sound. My soul wakes up to the sound of this bike. On the other bikes, I would sit on the bike and I start the bike, nothing. Okay, I'm happy because I'm sitting on a motorcycle, but that's it. It's because it's a motorcycle. I'm happy because not on this bike, not only is it because it's motorcycle, but it gives me that thunder, that wake-up call that says you are about to be free, and the reason why is because the sound of this bike makes you free. And for those of you who understand what I'm talking about, you have the different connection with different bikes, different style of bikes, and that is why I ended up owning a Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson dealership was the last dealership that I went to before I chose a bike, before I ended up buying a bike. Okay, so when you go buy your motorcycle, when you go find your girl or your guy, you have standards, all right? You have like a set of a priority list. Like, you know, the guy has to have this. He has to have a job. He has to look like this. The girl has to have this. She has to not spend thousands of dollars on purses and makeups and whatever your reason may be, whatever your criteria for that girl or guy. I totally get that. It's the same thing with a bike. You know, but for things like a motorcycle, you know, you're always like, well, it's got to be a sport bike, and it's got to be, you know, it's got to be not a Harley, or it's got to be not American made or something like that. But if you take all of that out of the picture, you'll find out that, you know, it's hard to. I totally understand. It's hard to say, well, how do I put Harley Davidson in my picture? Like, I'm not even a fan of boppers or cruisers to begin with. I completely understand. But you gotta understand where I'm coming from. I like motorcycles no matter what style they are to begin with, and that's why I ended up with the situation that I'm in. I wear sports bike gear, and I ride a cruiser that happens to be a Harley Davidson. And that is the reason why. Because I'm so open-minded. Oh, that is always a good bump every time I go over that. Did you guys like that little hop there? Yeah, I did too. But But yeah, so that's why I own a Harley Davidson. It's the best analogy I can make, and I don't know how else to explain it to you. It's just, I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this ride, so I'm going to stop the vlog here. This is Ian with Motorcycling, and I will see you in the next vlog. Thanks for watching, guys.